Hi, Olga.
Hi, Anna.
Here we are in the studio once again.
We brought friends.
Andrea Fineberg, former Director of Community Engagement and Education and visionary leader behind both Key Change and Opera for All Voices.
Hi.
Oh, hey, hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Took me by surprise.
Of course, none of us would be here now doing this without Andrea.
Okay. But longtime listeners who've been with us ever since season 1 know that Andrea did not do it alone. And we have such a very special guest all the way from New York City.
It's Brandon Neal. Hello.
The co-creator of Opera for All Voices and original co-host of Key Change.
Brandon, how does it feel to be back behind the mic?
Strange, weird, a fever dream. It's like we were always in Cabby's studio and now I'm in my living room in Brooklyn. So things change.
In January of 2016, opera companies from all over the United States started a conversation trying to figure out how to create new works for smaller stages and alternative spaces at major opera companies.
Could we develop works that speak to a broader audience? And how can we be the leaders in showing that diversity is a huge plus?
I'm writer and producer Andrea Fineberg.
I'm senior producer of Creative Enterprise in the Office of the President at the Juilliard School, Brandon Neal.
I'm Arts Administrator Anna Garcia.
And I'm mezzo-soprano and associate professor of voice at the University of New Mexico, Olga Perez, Flora.
And this is Key Change.
Taking you inside Opera for All Voices.
Illuminating what happens when you build meaningful partnerships with incredible collaborators.
And revealing what it takes to build a rewarding and sustainable career in opera.
One more time.
As fun as it is to have all the Key Change co-hosts together, we are gathered for a bittersweet reason.
After 6 glorious seasons, today marks the final episode of the Key Change podcast.
Okay, how is everyone feeling?
I think bittersweet sums it up. It's Key Change has been so many things for so many people, and now it's over.
Oh.
Was that too much? But in endings, this is something I was talking about, and we've talked about it. Brandon and I talked about this back in the day. Endings are as important as beginnings. And it's okay for things to be over. Yeah. And it's okay for things to come to an end. It's how you package that ending, how you tell that story.
Yeah. Reminds me of the Pippin song, everything has its season, everything has its time. It feels sad for me, for sure.
I think it's important to recognize the importance of doing something and moving it forward. And I think what Key Change, Opera for All Voices has done is put a little more thought and emphasis in those who are making those creative decisions to think maybe a little bit more about how they're casting, what works and stories need to go on stage. You know, if a few people in those positions are thinking differently because of the work that was done through these programs, then that is success in my eyes. It also, I think, speaks to the longevity of the thing that occurred and happened, which is also beautiful in its own way, too.
Well said.
Brandon, I'm sure listeners who have been following Key Change and Opera for All Voices would love to know more about what you've been up to in New York since concluding your tenure in Santa Fe. Just the highlights.
Just the highlights. Well, I'm now senior producer of Creative Enterprise at the Juilliard School, where I work to bring interdisciplinary programming, residencies, workshops, and create new works with students from our music, dance, and drama divisions, while also establishing external partnerships with places like the Public Theater, Lincoln Center, and a few little fun things around the country. So it's been a whirlwind. As Andrea said before we got on the mic, I've been there now a year longer than I was at Santa Fe, which seems very strange. It makes me feel very old, but also very reminiscent of my time there, which sometimes feels like a dream at some point. So I was very surprised to see our producer, Andrea's name pop up on my phone, telling her we were doing this closing out episode. And it feels really nice to have been on the bookend of this journey, starting it with Andrea at the top, and then being here with you all and meeting Olga for the first time. So it's amazing what these little worlds and families do, and how they change and how they grow, and how we all stay connected even with the spans of time and everything. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's nice.
Well, Brandon, I know you've been keeping in touch with Key Change, listening to all the episodes, because we've kept talking about you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, just
avid listener.
Yeah, of course. Number one listener.
Andrea, retirement. Does that word feel accurate? Fill us in on your past year transitioning out of your role at the opera and into this new chapter.
So the word retirement, anyone that knows me, the root word of that is retiring. I'm not a retiring kind of gal. So
No, you're not.
I ended my tenure with the Santa Fe Opera so I could lean more into my passion, which is storytelling and writing more. And then listeners have heard this 1,001 times. I also left to spend more time with my seniors. My oldest child, it was her senior year of high school, and my husband is a little bit older than I am. So it sounds like that politician who's like stepping down from office because of personal reasons, but that was really sincere. And it's been really wonderful. And I don't know that anyone ever really quits the Santa Fe Opera or leaves the Santa Fe Opera. It's a magical place that once you've been there, it's just kind of imprints on you, or you imprint on it, I hope, a little bit too. And it finds a way of pulling you back in. Hey, Brandon. Things that you just don't anticipate. And I think something that Brandon said just a few minutes ago about legacy work, I think that's what you were touching on, the things that we do that have a lasting impact, and being able to be reminded of that. And I don't just mean the four of us. I mean the work of the Community Engagement Department at Santa Fe Opera and the work of the Santa Fe Opera in the first place, that jewel of an institution, and how it's changed the capital O art form forever. And we've all been some part of that. So did I answer the question about retirement? I don't know.
I think so, but can you tell us a little more about your libretto writing and just things that I happen to know that you're some exciting works that you have coming up?
Well, upcoming is the world premiere of The Lovesick Skunk with composer Beth Rattay and Young Voices, which has been a really fun project. Go figure, The Lovesick Skunk is not a grand opera. It's a children's opera based on a story by the New Mexico storyteller Joe Hayes. Was a lot of fun. Let me flex a little bit in a way that should have been obvious. And then working on a couple of projects with Laura Kaminsky, who Key Change listeners have got to know over the years as well. And one of which I believe Olga will be performing in the world premiere in November of this year. So I think that's about all I'm allowed to talk about.
Yeah, probably. We're just going to say that's in the works.
Let's leave some mystery.
Yeah.
No one is as busy as retired people are.
That's what they say.
I just want to say.
True.
Okay, Olga, tables turn. What's going on for you?
Well, it's just been a really exciting time. Things at UNM are great. We are producing Ronaldo by Handel this spring. So reach out to me, community members, if you want a ticket. We do a comp ticket for any New Mexico State high school choral band or orchestra student, +1 for $10. So a little shout out there. And I am really excited because I'm doing my Carnegie Hall debut on April 26th. So Brandon, I'll see you there. And I've got 2 West Side Stories coming up in California, which is super fun. A concert with the New Mexico Philharmonic. That's also going to feature Amy Owens, soprano, who you all know and love from Santa Fe Opera Young Voices, and the debut of my Cuban song album, which is going to be in Albuquerque, March 29th, everybody. So come on out. And so lots of great stuff. I will say, I feel like you and I have talked about this a lot. My kids are in a busy season, speaking of just busy stuff. So that's fun. And I really can appreciate wanting to step aside and give your family time. My girls are a little younger and, they're busy little bees. And my husband, of course, is busy teaching and singing. So,
You all make it look so easy.
oh, well, thank you.
I know that's kind of what wabi-sabi.
That's yeah. That's a facade. But we definitely juggle it together. And I think that's the whole deal, just juggling everything together.
And what you just described, Olga, was your spring.
Yeah, spring and a little bit of summer. I'm excited to be partnering with Santa Fe Opera again to do some preview dinners. So that's so great. I really enjoyed Anna and Charles asked me to do that last summer, and I enjoyed it. So I'm back for another season of that.
A star is born.
Yeah.
So speaking of the future, do we have any updates on the operas from Opera for All Voices?
Well, The Pigeon Keeper is going on to have a performance live after its world premiere at Opera Parallel. Opera Omaha will be producing it in the spring of 27. And then Opera on the Avalon is a TBD. So that's exciting for people to pay attention to that. We also have ongoing development with Nova. Some exciting news that Santa Fe Opera will be soon announcing about the ongoing development with that project. So there's that. And, I'm confident Charles Gamble and the Santa Fe Opera would be happy to hear from anyone about producing the other works. Sweet Potato Kicks the Sun, Hometown to the World.
This Little Light of
This Little
Mine.
Light of
Mine. If we hop into the Key Change time machine and travel all the way back to season 1, episode 1, we can hear Andrea and Brandon ask the questions, what if we fail? What if we succeed? If we had to come up with failures that were learning moments from OFAV or Key Change, what might they be? Oh my gosh.
I have this thing about the word failure. Go figure. That
Windows
it's
of
not-
opportunity.
Yeah, well, no, that failure's not falling.
Mm-hmm.
That it's learning, and I feel like yes, we learned a lot, but I wouldn't necessarily say that we failed. I mean, I think it was season 2 when Brandon conducted like that whole host of interviews that made Andrea Klunder's editing job
Oh, gosh.
a new level, a new challenge that really opening up the conversation was taking Opera for All Voices to another level. And it was the thing that Brandon and I teased out a lot anyway in the beginning about all voices. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, when you say all voices, you got to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're probably not going to get all voices, even with the work. So staying true to that as much as possible, even after Brandon left. I mean, I kept that as a true north. Like, okay, less Andrea, more all voices.
I also think part of learning is learning that the idea of failing is not that scary, I guess. Like part of the whole reason for this consortium of companies to come together to create these works that were missing from these stages, albeit moving to smaller stages, not like main stages. I think the whole experience of everything was important. I mean, there were people that would sign on to things and people that would leave. And then we would have really deep creative discussions that would go one way and then the next. And I think, doing any project like this is similar to living. Like you have to go through it, not away from it. And the only way to truly give heart to what you're doing is to just give it your all. And I feel that everyone a part of OFAV, from this producing team for this podcast to our scenic team at the Santa Fe Opera, really put all of their efforts into making things the best they could be, while also leaving room for us to explore and discover and learn from one another. And yeah, that just doesn't seem like failure to me. That seems like a success in a lot of different ways.
I don't know. If we're thinking back on the first season of Key Change, I think one of my favorite moments that I actually enjoy going back and listening to is just the start of it all, with all the members of the consortium writing on a napkin at a restaurant, probably closing the restaurant down if I know these people well. And just from that moment leading on to what Opera for All Voices has become is just, things never look the way you think they're going to look. And I'm sure Andrea and Brandon and anyone who's been a part of OFAV has seen the trajectory of it all. And it's just special when things come to fruition, however different that looks like initially. So
No one could have predicted a global pandemic.
Oh, there was
Bingo
that.
card.
There was that, yeah.
Well, I am, of course, the newest member here. And so I'll say I want to talk about the successes a little bit. And what I see is this incredible team that all work together. And something that I didn't know about podcasting, I love podcasting, I love listening to them, but I did not quite realize all of the work that the production team. So this is a big shout out to Andrea and to her team. They are amazing. The work that goes on behind the scenes that Anna has done in our time together, making all the scripts happen and making everything come alive, it really just takes an incredible amount of effort, and you all do it so beautifully. It has really been additive to my life and very successful. You guys should talk about when you interviewed, the director.
We go back to the Peter Sellers
Yes.
days? Everyone wants to talk about our Peter Sellers
Cabby
interview,
loves
Brandon.
Peter Sellers.
Because you and I were so like,
We were best friends with Peter Sellers that summer. He would come down to the office. We talk about his future shows. He would wax poetic for hours at times, and we were so connected to the Pueblos. Well, we were all the time, but that summer was very, very special, having our friends from the surrounding Pueblos with us on a almost daily basis, really building some strong relationships there with the push from Peter. And that, it was a very special conversation. It's one I go back to and listen to from time to time, just to hear his words of wisdom. But it was early seasons. We were scrappy. We were figuring things out on the fly. I remember when we went to New York for the first time. I think it was like Andrea and I were there, then me, Kathleen, and we went to go see Fun Home at the Circle in the Square Theater.
I love that show.
With like the original cast, and it was amazing. And we were
that was my first
like,
Broadway show.
Was it really?
Oh, really?
Was it really?
What a show to have
I know.
be your first.
Crazy.
It was
crazy. It was
the best.
For any team wanting to, start figuring out how to tell all these stories. It was like a great kind of like fuel to the fire. And it was just interesting because this past fall, my team worked with Janine Tesori on a show. So it just felt very, in the moment, I was like, wow, it's amazing how your life comes back secularly,
Full circle for you.
Yeah, always. And I think we're kind of all swimming around that topic of us all coming full circle, and OFAV kind of being that planet that we're all orbiting around. And as it gets, sucked into the sun and and spread out into the ether for its next journey, I just think it's just so funny that we all find ourselves here together.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I have to say, for me, we only did 8 episodes together, but all great, all fun. But the one with Chandler Johnson for me was really seminal. I felt like that was an episode that I share with a lot of young singers and teachers. And I think I've said this before on the podcast, but I'll say it again. It's a really great one for those young singers who are looking for some tidbits about how to audition and what panels are looking for. And it was just such a rich conversation. So to me, that was a big win.
2 episodes.
So much good content.
So much good content.
Dose.
A game.
And now a game.
Our producer, Andrea, has a game for us.
6 questions she did not share with us in advance.
Each of us will draw a card and answer that question.
And if you're stumped, you can ask a friend.
And the final 2 questions are for all of us.
Who wants to start?
I think Anna should go first.
I can just jump in. Oh, this is going to be great. Andrea often says, opera doesn't happen without audience. What do you hope our Key Change audience takes away from the past 6 seasons?
Don't cry.
No, this is great. This is great. We're doing just fine. Hold on. I'm not phoning a friend. Everything's fine. Can you read your question? I'll jump back on my answer in a second.
Girl, I
Thank
got
you.
I got you.
It had to give me an Andrea Phyllis
What
Fineberg
kind of
one.
sham operation is this?
I'll answer it. Don't forget about me. Go ahead.
Okay. Key Change Season 1, Episode 1, Brandon and Andrea talk about, quote, "We all have stories," end quote. If an opera was made about your life, what would it be called? Well, I think it would be called Warrior Singing Mama. That would be the name of my opera. Warrior
Cajun Queen.
Singing Cajun Queen.
Deep.
Oh,
But that's the Cuban thing. So warrior singing mama.
Yeah.
Is
My
it in-
life has swerved and swerved and swerved, right? And I've just taken all the roads less traveled. And I guess my parents might say I made it harder on myself, but I love where I ended up. Warrior Singing Mama.
Do you want to go next? Do you want me to go next?
Sure, I can go next. What opera or opera character do you most identify with?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Where'd you get
That
I
is
know.
so hard. It really depends on the day.
Fair.
You know, sometimes, I think one opera that I love just because of its insanity and its happenstance and the little things that happen, which I feel like my life has been just like a collection of little moments that have like steered me forward. It's like Falstaff, because I feel like it's like a comedy of errors. Not that I feel like my life is a comedy of errors, but I do see, like one little thing leading to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's kind of like cacophonous, chaotic, kind of sing-songy life that I have, which is fun and complicated and hard sometimes, but really happy sometimes too. So, and it all ends with, a big laugh. So I'll claim Falstaff for this one.
Beautiful. I love that.
Oh, all right. I can jump on in. Andrea often says opera doesn't happen without audience. What do you hope our Key Change audience takes away from the past 6 seasons? I scanned my brain through all the episodes that I've worked with on Key Change, and I think the main message I can sum up for Andrea would be never stop asking the questions, never stop showing up, and listen. And I think Key Change did a very good job at doing all those things.
Question. What key change guest were you most nervous to interview or starstruck by? Not Peter Sellers. This is written, the question was written in purple with a very saturated pen, but in parentheses and a little blue ink pen, later thought, clearly, not Peter Sellers, ! And not Chandler.
That was in case one of us got it.
I don't really feel like I was starstruck or nervous. Peter Sellers is just an exceptional human being, and you just go into another dimension when you're with him. So that's interdimensionality. I think where I felt a considerable amount of responsibility, which is maybe not the exact word, and aware of how necessary the conversations were and how important it was for me to get out of the way was while we were producing This Little Light of Mine. And that my voice wasn't necessary and stepping away for some of those conversations and also stepping back in for some of those conversations. I just felt that it was not my story, beyond holding the place for making sure that This Little Light of Mine happened in a way that I think was really memorable, and having Fannie Lou Hamer's daughter with us and just asking forgiveness and not permission. I did a lot of that.
All sing.
Was that an all sing or all sigh?
All skate. I was like, I'll sing, I'll skate.
Producer Andrea says that many people who podcast as part of their job say it's one of their favorite things they get to do. How has being part of Key Change changed you?
Boo. Cue tears. Brandon, why don't you go first?
Yeah, Brandon, you go first.
Sure. Key Change was a very important, 2 years of my life. I feel like it taught me how to organize a full season of something, not in the sense of like, I've curated concerts and helped create different things, but to really think about how stories intertwine into one another, how they remain connected, and also figuring out what were we saying, what was important, and that experience has really tied over into the work I do at Juilliard, where one of the questions I always ask before we do anything is why and how and who and those kind of things, because I am curious about the end as much as I'm curious about the start. So I really try to see things from beginning to end, even though I know that those things are going to change, those things are going to ebb and flow. The opportunity to be a co-host and to help curate the music on the program during my 2 years really taught me a sense of patience and made me more willing to understand people who have difference of opinions and finding that middle ground with folks while also being honest and truthful and finding balance. Yeah, it's hard to put into words how impactful key change was and continues to be. It's something I still talk about on a regular basis. My coworkers are always surprised when they hear that I was on a podcast for a few years. So, you know, it's hard to quantify how you feel about something that really was something you really cared about. And Andrea mentioned that episode where we have a lot of our colleagues who are people of color talking very candidly about their experiences. And yeah, I was pretty proud of that.
This is the moment when everybody should turn off this episode and go back and listen to that episode.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes.
Yes.
I don't know that I have a whole lot more to bring, and I think Brandon said what I think is resonant and true for all four of us, or all six of us, because Cabby's here too, and Andrea. I mean, we've been on this journey together. Yeah. And that's, to me, it goes back to what meaning making, what matters and how do you make meaning out of things that are seemingly disparate and impossible. And listening is generally a really great way forward. Listening and staying curious. I think these are the things that I've gained. And a lot of that came from sitting in the room with Brandon, came from sitting in the room with Anna, and now it's come from sitting on the other side and being a listener.
Well, I just want to say that when Andrea and Anna asked me to lunch to talk to me about something, do you guys remember this?
Sure.
And I was thinking,
Fired.
what is what is going on? And then they asked me if I would, co-host the podcast. I don't know if y'all know this. I was I was ridiculously excited for about a whole week, just that excited thing that happens to singers when we get hired to do a gig. And I was excited because this is so purposeful. And what I have learned, because I think the question is, how was being a part of Key Change changed you? It has changed me because I'm starting to look at community in a much broader sense, and yet in a more focused sense, because I just moved to New Mexico during the pandemic, and being a part of this world has opened me up to the Pueblo and to, my people, the Latin American community, more here in Albuquerque and in Santa Fe and in the greater New Mexico, because now I'm also teaching at Taos Opera Institute. But getting to get into these cities and towns and seeing these people and really seeing them. I learned so much in those 2 days of the Nova workshop. And I did a lot of just looking in and listening, and it was incredibly powerful. And so how has it changed me? It has opened me up to be more a part of our community here in New Mexico, not just in terms of the arts, but just in terms of our community and how can I help and what can I do and how do I teach my children to do that as well. So thank you.
All right. best for last, I'm assuming. Here I am. I think learning how important process is and being open to change because things won't always look the way we plan them to be. So I think I pay a lot more attention to that and continuing to work in community engagement and education within the last year and still doing a season of Key Change when the original focus was opera for all voices and kind of pivoting towards more of the education sector. There's so many good things, great programs that come out of the Santa Fe Opera, great opportunities for people of all ages, and it really kind of honed me down to how special all those opportunities are. So yeah, that's been nice.
Okay, you ready? You guys ready? Oh, amazing. If you could wave a magic wand and have one wish for the future of opera in America, what would you wish?
I wish they would get some sense. If I'm being completely honest, I really wish that opera companies around this country would wake up to the fact that the communities that they serve are diverse and expansive, and they need to see themselves on stage. And does that mean that you need to make a Porgy and Bess every single year to bring people into those houses? Not at all. But you should be casting in a way that reflects the communities that you reside in. I think it's important for opera companies to take a deep look in the mirror and assess whether they want to be here for another 100 years or not, because the road in which they're taking now, at least from as now an audience member, no longer as someone that works within the opera field, it seems that the learnings that we had held on to during the pandemic are slowly slipping away.
Mm-hmm.
And sooner or later, those companies are going to feel all the time that they had to really make those inroads slip right past them as their doors close. That's just, I feel like, kind of the truth of it all, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I usually come to this as a singer, and what I'm about to say may or may not be a popular opinion, but it really has come to the fore for singers lately. And I've had a lot of conversations with young singers and those of us who I'll call us more seasoned singers and my agents. But the lack of a living wage being paid for singers in opera is a real problem. And if I could wave my magic wand, I would want the singers and the musicians in the pit and the crew and the designers and the entire team to be paid a livable wage, because so much of what we do is not visible. You don't see the costume designer creating renderings. We don't see the interns working on building a table, let's say. You don't see the singer in a coaching or in a voice lesson and turning around and paying hundreds of dollars often for that. And so while there are companies that are paying a livable wage, my hope for the future for future singers is that that really does happen. And I know I say singers, I mean everybody in opera. It takes an entire team to make everything happen. That's my magic wand.
I think bigger, bolder, more why not opera without fear.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, she took my answer. I knew I should have gone.
I did it.
Keep going.
Operating from a place of trying to guess what this certain small segment of the population wants from opera, meaning the people who opera has been catering to for a very long time, I don't think is serving the art form. And we're having a conversation right now in a time where a lot of things are super scary, and I don't know that it's important to bring that into the space or not. And the arts are a place where we can, for a certain amount of time, not necessarily escape it, because I don't think we escape it, but we can process it, and we can gather together in community and experience art in real time and share stories. And I amen to what Brandon said about let's see some stories and some people telling those stories that reflect this great experiment that seems to be on we're in a really fragile place right now. So opera without fear.
I think I'm going to come from I'm not an opera singer. I didn't study it before. I'm completely new. As new as I am with the Santa Fe Opera, I think what I've enjoyed the most working with Opera for All Voices and Key Change is, like my previous answer, just seeing the process. And I feel like there's so many creative minds and there's so many opportunities that people don't know that they have. If we're stemming back to maybe, again, the education department has the Young Technicians program for kids that are interested in the production side of the field, the Young Voices program for high school students that are interested in singing. I think if there were more opportunities like that, just to get those creative juices flowing and for people to have the opportunities. I would have loved to be able to join programs like that growing up, but I didn't know they existed. And I wish the arts organizations just kind of opened themselves up with opportunities like that, because I think they're just so fantastic. And I love that the Santa Fe Opera does that, and that I got to see all that kind of come to life.
Good game.
Producer Andrea told me that when she first met Brandon and Andrea to discuss the podcast they wanted to launch, they said they wanted to be the car talk of opera.
I think we should define car talk for the audience, because I think it's when I tell my kids not to say something rude outside of the car and they have to get in it and shut all the doors. Is that what we're talking about?
That's very important. And Brandon and I might have thought about that, but no, that was a very specific reference to an AM radio show.
The one with the two brothers.
Yes.
What were their names?
Click and Clack.
Click and Clack.
Was it Click and Clack, Brandon?
I think so.
Yeah. I think
Been a minute. They're not with us anymore.
I know, sadly.
But yeah, opening the hood of opera. I love that.
Discuss how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, I think y'all did an enormous job. Opera for All Voices is an incredibly innovative and community-driven project. So I would say bravi.
There's so many people in the DNA of OFAV,
Mm-hmm.
and so many people at the Santa Fe Opera that are in the DNA. And then there's that ever-expanding ripple from that pebble that Brandon and I dropped all those years ago.
Good job, y'all. We brought friends. It's often said that operas usually end in cheers or tears. Someone ends up wed or dead. How does Key Change end? Well, I hope it's not dead.
This one's tears for sure.
Tears. Cheers and
I think
tears.
cheers and tears. I mean, I think it can be. I mean, I use that formula all the time. The married or buried is usually the one I say. Okay, it's usually married or buried is my quick formula, and I think Key Change defies that kind of binary. It's not one or the other. It is cheers and tears, but not married and buried.
No.
I think Key Change only disappears when people stop doing the work. And I know even outside this room, there's a lot of people out there doing the work and trying to build upon the legacy that Key Change added to. So Key Change will reverberate as long as that work needs to be done. I think we can be happy with that.
All right, I have two things to say, and I don't know where these might go. Well, right here, I would say I'm going to call it a park and bark. For the listeners who are not familiar in opera, when a chorus or a character is asked to stand on stage and just stand there and sing, it's called park and bark. And in this case, Key Change, here it is. We've parked it. It's going to be online, I'm guessing, in perpetuity. And I think that's a great thing. And I hope lots of people continue to find it. And the other thing I wanted to say was, I think of my heart and my soul as having these little valves, that these valves get filled and sometimes they empty a little bit. And Key Change filled a valve that I didn't even know I had.
And that's car talk.
Brandon, thank you so much for joining us from New York City, from Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn. Thank you, guys. And I also just want to thank Andrea, Anna, Olga, Andrea, Cabby. It's been a beautiful journey, and I appreciate being thought of and considered for this final episode. It's really brought a lot of good feelings and renewed some fire in me. So I appreciate that.
Beautiful.
There's no key change without Brandon Neal.
Brandon means it because it's pretty cold over there. So if there's a fire lit up, we're keeping our buddy warm.
We are freezing very much, yes.
You're welcome.
Key Change is a production of the Santa Fe Opera, Department of Community Engagement and Education.
We are produced and edited by Andrea Klunder at the Creative Imposter Studios.
I'm Anna Garcia.
I'm Olga Perez Flora.
I'm Brandon Neal.
And I'm Andrea Fellows Fineberg.
Audio engineering is by Colin Ungerleider and Cabby at Cabby Sound Studios in Santa Fe.
Technical direction by Edwin R. Ruiz.
Production support from Alex Riegler.
Show notes by Lisa Witter.
Talent relations for this episode by Miranda Scott.
This podcast is made possible due to the generous support of the Hankins Foundation, principal education sponsor of the Santa Fe Opera.
To learn more, visit the website santafeopera.org.
And follow the Santa Fe Opera on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. All sing. Are we supposed to sing?
She's funny.
All skate.
So
Am I not old enough?
when you went to the skating rink,
Uh-huh.
there were certain
I
things
hardly went to the skating
Okay, but when
rink.
you went,
Okay.
when one went to the skating rink,
Yeah.
there would be different things that different people could skate, like couple skate,
Hokey
Oh.
pokey.
backward skate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cute.
Only
little kids
boys,
only,
only girls.
And then there was an all skate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Brandon, do you know this?
Yes.
He's just a minute older than you are. Just a minute.